Like, all right, this is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. Also, remember, check out Commanding General YAHANNA's radio show Monday. Check out the classes Tuesday through Friday. Check out the classes here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. till 9. Coming down to those. And today we're gonna go into what centuries change, man, but God don't. Times change, but God don't. Things that people do changes, but God don't. The agenda change, people's agenda changes. What the white man says is not allowed. 20 years down the line, he then says it is allowed. With God, what God says ain't allowed from the beginning, allowed now, man. Only the white man changes and everybody else changes what they believe and what they want to follow. But with God, God don't change, man. Give me a Romans 15 and 4. And also, any questions, type them in. Because the world that we live in, the way the world's going right now, in no time, outrageous things is just going to be seen as normal. Because at one time, homosexuality was seen as what? A disease, man. Now it's seen as what? Now it's normal now. It's normal now. Now 2 men can go get married in the church. 2 men can go get married in the mosque. A boy can want to be a little girl now. A little girl can change into a boy now. Listen, man, with centuries and time and the white man's laws and the people ruling over us, they change like the weather, man. Everything that they believe changes. But with God, God don't change, man.
Right.
What God said was wrong in the beginning is still wrong now. Read that for me.
Romans 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime.
So it says, so whatsoever things was written aforetime. So aforetime means before. Everything which was written before, all these laws, these statutes, these commandments which was written before. Go ahead.
Were written for our learning.
And everything in this Bible that what the prophets went through, all the wise words of Solomon, the Proverbs and so forth, and his wisdom, all these things was written for what?
For our learning.
All these things was written for our learning, man. Everything you see in this Bible, we meant to read it and learn from it. All these things was written for our learning. Every law in the Bible was what? We meant to read that law and learn it, man, and not break it. Everything was written for our learning. The things in here ain't just written for the sake of it. You think God put his spirit on the prophets to write down these scriptures for you to just what? Not even take notice of them. Nah, man. He put them in there for you to take notice.
Right.
Only Christianity tells you, oh yeah, that's done away with. Which means what? All them prophets in the Old Testament wasted their time then, if it's done away with. That means they had got all these visions and everything for no reason if it's done away with. What's the point of it being there if it's done away with? That's a lie, man. It ain't done away with, man. It still applies today. Only a man that hates God and wants to disobey God would lie to you and say, oh yeah, it's done away with. Only a man that wants to do everything which is against God will tell you it's done away with. Read that again from the top.
For whatsoever things that were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. And it's only right we learn from what was written, man. We need to learn from people's mistakes in the Bible. Learn, all right, don't do that. Learn what makes God angry, man. Learn what pleases God. That's what we need to learn, man. We need to read this book and learn these things. Because all these things is written in there. It's written for our learning, man. Give me a Romans 12 and 2 real quick. If you ain't learning from what you're reading in the Bible, obviously, you might just be a Christian if you're not learning from what you're reading in the Bible. Go ahead.
Romans 12 and 2. And be not conformed to this world.
It says, be not conformed to this world. Because this world is what? This world changes what they want to believe all the time. They change what they see as right all the time. They change what they see as wrong all the time. This world ain't just. This is a white man's world, man. And you can't be conformed to this white man's world. Because if you do conform to this white man's world, you accept homosexuality, you accept transgenders, you accept LGBTQ, you accept pedophilia, you accept bestiality. This is where this world's heading. This is where this world's heading, man. And then this world ridicules you for what? This world ridicules you for what? Because you want to follow God. Because you want to follow God, this world ridicules you, man, and calls you all sorts of names and tells you you're living in the Stone Ages and you're living in the past and you're this and you're that. This world beats you down, man. This world beats people down so much until what? People start to just conform, man. And the Bible says what? Read that from the top.
And be not conformed to this world.
It says, be not conformed to this world, man. Don't let this world beat you down so much that you end up being conformed to it, man. Don't let this world beat you down so much that one day you say, you know what? Let me just do what everybody else wants me to do because my mom don't love me no more. My aunties, my uncles, my family. Let me just be conformed to this world, this white man's world. No, man. Read that from the top.
And be not conformed to this world.
Be not conformed to this world, man. You have to stand on what God wants you to stand on, man. You have to believe what God told you to believe, man. We've got our own laws, our culture, our customs. We have all of that, man. We have our own stuff. We don't need to conform to this world. We don't need to do what society does. We don't need to follow what society follows. This world tells you what? Celebrate Christmas. And then already now they're doing a countdown to Christmas. You see it? They're doing a countdown to Christmas or this much days till Christmas. The Bible says, be not conformed to this world, man. Forget about the cares of this world because it don't mean nothing. Like it says in the Bible, this world's going to pass away, man. This world's going to pass away, man. Once Christ returns, man, it's pretty much done. This white man's reign is over with. And you're going to die right along with it if you conform to this world, man. If you start accepting what they tell you to accept, you start going to gay pride marches, you start eating pork, you start saying, oh, you know what? That was ages ago when they couldn't eat pork because they couldn't clean it properly, but now we can clean it properly. I've heard that a million times. Now we can clean pork properly, so now we can eat it. Listen, man, that's a lie, man. Show me in the Bible where God said you can't eat pork because you can't clean it properly. That's some made-up nonsense, man. You can't eat pork because God said it's unclean. No matter how much you so-called try to clean it, you can't clean it, man. It's dirty, and God said you can't eat it. God said you can't eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. But this world will tell you what? What? You've never ate seafood. You've never had a lobster. Nowadays, what? Lobster's what? A luxury dish.
God.
Nowadays, when a man wants to impress a woman, where does he take her? He takes her for lobster, man. He takes her for lobster. You see all the claws and the lobster and on the plate and all of that stuff. The Bible says, be not conformed to this world, man. Don't be eating no lobster and because this world says, you know what, lobster's nice. Don't be eating no tuna because this world says tuna's good for you. Don't be saying, well, I'll go to the gym and tuna's high in protein and surely God don't mind what I eat. And listen, man, people make a ton of excuses to eat whatever they want to eat, man. I would rather you just say, you know what, you just want to disobey God. Don't try and cut corners and lie. Don't try and lie on the Bible. Don't try and lie on God and say God said this when God clearly didn't say it, man. You saying things that God didn't say, man. What God did say is you can't eat unclean food, man. God said what? You can't interracial marriage. When you tell a man you shouldn't be marrying white women, guess what they say? Oh, you're living in the Stone Age, man. They say you're living in the Stone Age. You're old-fashioned. This is the 21st century. Listen, centuries change, but God don't change, man. And it's only right we follow God, man. Or all of us is going to be dead if we don't. Go ahead.
But be transformed by the renewing of the mind.
But be transformed by the renewing of your mind, man. Meaning you're meant to come in this truth and you change, man. That's what you're meant to do. Come in here and you change your life. Go ahead.
That ye may prove what is good.
That ye may what?
Prove what is good.
Renewing of your mind that ye may prove what is good, man. And we know every word in this Bible is good, man. We know all these laws is good. We know obeying God is good, man. We know that. People outside in the world don't know that. So they just change with society. They just change with centuries. They just change with the times. So now you got what? Back in the days, men's clothes were what? Had a bit of space in them. Nowadays, you look at it, men's clothes is skin tight now, man. Because over centuries, things change. The dress code changes and so forth. Once upon a time, men was men. But if you look nowadays, these men have become like women, man. Doing things that women would do, man. Women are trying to be like men. Once upon a time, women had class, But in the 21st century, you don't have to have class. It's acceptable to be a whore. It's acceptable to rap about being a whore and to make a lot of money being a whore. When you go back to the so-called Stone Ages where I would like to go, that was not acceptable, man. That was not acceptable back in the days, man. You couldn't be doing none of those things. But nowadays, what? This white man's world deems everything acceptable, deems all this nastiness acceptable, all this evil is acceptable. Where if you go back even 50 years, these things wasn't acceptable, man. Our women wasn't in the club twerking on every single man they see 50 years ago, man. And just because we want things to go back how it was 50 years ago, they say we're living in the Stone Age. Because we don't want our daughters to be whores, they say we're living in the Stone Age, man. Because we don't want our brothers to be homosexuals, they say we're living in the past and we're living in the Stone Age, man. Or because we don't want those things, which means what? It should let you know in 50 years' time from now. Just imagine where this place is going to be at. It's going to be worse than it is now because people have become accepting to everything, man. They've become accepting to everything. But drop that, give me a Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16.
Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the way and see, and ask for the old path.
And do what?
Ask for the old path.
The Lord's telling us to ask for the Stone Age, man.
God.
The Lord's saying ask for the old path. The Lord's saying ask for how it was back in the days, man. When our women had class, our men wasn't homosexuals, our men wasn't drug dealers, our men wasn't murderers, we wasn't eating all abominable foods, we wasn't being wicked, we had brotherhood. The Lord's saying ask for the old paths. It was like that back in the days, but nowadays, living in this white man's world under white people, and anything goes, man. It's like a free for all. Everything is acceptable. You can do all manner of evil, all manner of wickedness, and there's nobody that says, you know what, that's wrong. The only people who stand up for righteousness now is us and the I.S.U.P.K, man. And when we stand up for righteousness, guess what happens? People tell us, oh, you're stuck in the past. You're old-fashioned. You're a bigot. You're this. You're that. And they try and beat you down, man. They try and belittle you. They try and belittle you, man, because you're standing up for righteousness. They tell you, oh, you're living in the Stone Age. Just go somewhere where there's no technology and whatnot. That's what they tell you, man. We hear it all the time. Like before people actually spend time with us, people actually think people think we're some ancient, people think we're some old, ancient, don't know about technology, don't know about cars, don't know about TV. People just think we're just these guys that just sit in a dark room the whole day. They think we sit in a dark room with a club. That's what they think. They think we just sit in a dark room with a club and, that's it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old path.
The Bible says, ask for the old paths, man. The old paths, when things was right, man. When things was in order. When a man was a man. When a man was the man of the house. When a man wasn't when a man wasn't letting a woman poke him in his head and tell him, you ain't staying here tonight, and throwing his bags out, throwing his 2 black bags out the house, making him homeless and all of those things. As for the old paths, man, when we had respect and love for one another, that's the old paths. And then people say we old-fashioned because we talk about those things, man. We old-fashioned because we talk about those things. But these things is in the Bible, man. What you're basically saying is you're saying God's old-fashioned, man. You ain't saying we old-fashioned, you're saying God's old-fashioned because the things that we do, God tells us to do. So be careful what you're saying, man. All the things you say bad about us, you saying it about God, man.
Right.
Because we do everything God tells us to do. When you speak evil to us, you're speaking evil about Christ, man.
Right.
When you tell us we are bigot, you're calling Jesus Christ a bigot, man. You're calling God a bigot. You're calling God small-minded and all these things. Go ahead.
Where is the good way?
Where is the good way, man? Go ahead.
And walk therein.
And walk therein, the good way, man. Because this new way ain't no good way. This new way is what? Full of homosexuality, transsexuals. This is the new way, man. The Lord said, ask for the old paths. Go ahead.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
And ye shall find rest for your souls, man. We ain't going to find no rest walking in this new path that you've learned from being under your oppressors. from being in slavery, from being in England. This is a new path that you've learned, man. This is a new path, and the Lord don't like this path, man.
God.
So the Lord's saying, go back to the old ways, man. The Lord's saying, ask for the old path, where you keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. His laws ain't done away with, man. If God's laws was done away with, that means what? You could run around do anything nasty, man. You could do anything nasty, man, and there won't be no what? No one to tell you. There's no wrong in it. If God's laws is done away with, if God's laws is done away with, you can go rob whoever you want, murder whoever you want, rape whoever you want, because there's no law. If that's the case, which makes Christianity such a disgusting thing, man. Which makes Christianity such a disgusting thing. They only say the law's done away with according to the laws that they want to break, man. But if you come and rob them, they claim the law's not done away with, man. They phone the police. Listen, they shouldn't phone the police because obviously the law's done away with. Obviously, there's no such thing as you can't steal if the law's done away with. The law still exists, man. The law still exists. But what people like to do is laws that they don't want to keep, that don't fit their narrative, they say, oh, no, the law's done away with. Obviously, Christ came and died, and that done away with the law, and now we just can be as evil as we want. We can eat as much pork as we want. We can rob who we want. We can have sex with white women, Chinese, Japanese women. When according to the Bible, you can't do that, man.
Right.
People say, "Oh, let them marry." They can, a man. People say you can't decide who you love. You sure can decide who you love. The Lord tells you who you better love, man, and the Lord tells you who you can't love. People make out like, oh, you just fall in love with whoever you want. Listen, man, that's you fulfilling your lust, man. You decide. You saying you can fall in love with whoever you want. That's no different to what a paedophile saying he can just fall in love with a kid. It's no different to him saying that, man. The thing is, no, he can't fall in love with a kid, man. There's laws in place, man. God told you who you can love and who you can't love, man. You trying to justify interracial marriage means what? You might as well justify bestiality. You might as well justify homosexuality. Because it's all one in the same, man. Go ahead.
Where is the good way and walk therein?
Where is the good way and walk therein, man? The good way is what? Walking in God's laws. And the bad way is what? Walking in the way that this society and this world wants you to walk in, man. That's the bad way. Drop that. Give me a Jeremiah 14 and verse 14.
Jeremiah 14 and 14. The Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name.
The what?
The prophets prophesy lies in my name.
And listen, man, this is what society does, man. These false prophets, your religious leaders, they prophesy lies in God's name. They tell you, you know what? Christmas is for the kids and God wouldn't mind. You're telling a lie in God's name, man. Show me in the Bible where God said he don't mind you celebrating Christmas, man. Show me in the Bible where God said he don't mind you breaking one of his laws. You're telling lies in God's name, man. You causing other people to break God's laws. Why you telling these lies, man? Prophesying lies in God's name. Show me when did God tell you that, man? God didn't come to you and tell you, listen, that's a damn lie, man. Read that again from the top.
Then the Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. I said them not, neither have I commanded them.
The Lord said he what?
Neither have I commanded them.
The Lord said he didn't send them, man. Neither did he command them. Anybody telling you to go against God in this Bible, the Lord didn't send them, man. Neither did he command them. Them telling you about this new world stuff and God's laws and do whatever you want and God wouldn't mind. And all of this, listen, this is what people say to you. This is what people say to you. So like a black man that wants to marry a white woman, this is what he will say to you. So what if there's a white woman that keeps all of God's laws and she takes care? You've heard it before, innit? What if there's a white woman that keeps all of God's laws and she looks after me and she treats me good and she cooks for me, and there's an evil black woman that don't take care of me? Which one would God rather me marry? That's what they ask. Listen, man. So you mean to tell me out of all the black women in the world, you can't find one good black woman that takes care of you, that treats you good? The truth is you're lustful and you just want a white woman, man. The truth is that you're lustful and you just want a white woman, man. And even if that was the case, the law is the law. I don't care how good a white woman treats you, man. It's against God for you to marry her, man.
Right.
I don't care how good she treats you. I don't care if she rubs your feet, if she does this, if she does that. I don't care if she knows this Bible from back to front, man. I don't care if she knows every word in the ancient Hebrew, man. I don't care if she goes to Israel. I don't care if she lives in Israel, man. She's still the devil the Bible speaks of that you can't marry, man. God said you can only marry your own kind, man. That's not my words, that's God's words. So you trying to spin it and say, what if there's a good white woman? Listen, man, you can't be with her, man. I don't care how good you think she is. I don't care how good you think she is, man. God said you can't be with her. Ask God that question, and God's gonna look at you and say no. Finish talking, he's gonna say no because he knows where you're going with it. And any pastor saying you're allowed to marry whoever you want, God ain't sent them, man. All these pastors, God is at war with them, man.
Right.
Because they're interracial marrying the children of God with heathens in the church who God said they can't marry, man. They're marrying two men. That's like a man saying, what if there's a woman, she's so evil and she don't treat me good, and then the man says, what if a man meets a man and the man treats him good? It's just so I don't know nothing. It's just so disgusting, man. The answer is no, man. The answer is no. You can't, man. You can't bend. Listen, based off your feelings, you can't bend God's rules, man. You can't bend God's law over your feelings. Listen, man, you ain't above the law, and God ain't gonna look at you. God ain't gonna give you a pass because you think this white woman treats you better than any black woman would. Listen, man. Come to I.S.U.P.K, man. There's a ton of black women that will treat you good, man. Treat you great, man. They've been trained, man, to treat you good, treat you great, man, to respect a black man. You only find them in here. The problem is this: you're in the wrong place looking for them, man. Obviously, you meeting women in the club. What did you expect? A housewife? You meeting a woman that likes champagne poured in her arse. Excuse my French. you meeting a woman in the club that likes champagne poured in her behind. I mean, what did you expect? Did you expect her to make you breakfast in bed? What did you expect? And then you're complaining about, oh, no good black women. Listen, look where you're meeting them. First of all, they're half naked in the club, breast and behind all out. They're trying to get in VIP with all the, what do you call them, the ballers. They're trying to get in VIP with all the ballers. Yeah, exactly. Having a hot girl summer, and she broke your heart. And I mean, what did you expect? Did you expect you to meet this woman in the club? And did you expect to bring her home? Listen, you meet her in the club straight up, first of all. You sleep with her the first night that you've met her in the club. It took you half an hour to sleep with her. And then guess what? You cry when you realize she slept with another man a week later. What did you expect? You was the other man that she slept with at one stage, man. She's everybody's woman in the club, man. I mean, what did you expect? Did you think she was going to find a housewife? Did you think she was going to find everything? Is that the call that woman that everything? Did you think she was going to find you all, your everything? Did you think she was going to find your heartbeat? Listen, man, you're looking in the wrong place for these women, man. God. And that's why you're getting your heart broke. And then guess what happens? You take it out on all black women, and then you start to be bitter, and then you start to be angry, and then you just start to hate black women. And then afterwards, you probably turn into a homosexual. Who knows? First of all, just get in the I.S.U.P.K, and that will solve all your problems. Go ahead.
I sent them not, neither have I commanded them.
The Lord said he sent them not, man. The Lord didn't send you pastors. Neither has he commanded them. He ain't gave them no orders to do anything, man. He ain't gave them no orders to even speak on his behalf. They're trying to speak on God's behalf. And they're speaking an imagination of their own mind. God ain't told them speak these words. These things that they're speaking is made up, man. Go ahead.
Neither spake unto them, they prophesy unto you a false vision.
They prophesy what?
A false vision.
You can marry who you want, what?
A false vision.
Two men can be together, what?
A false vision.
Listen, man, they speak to you a false vision, man. They tell you a lie, man. A false vision, stuff that they see in their mind. Whatever they see in their mind, whatever seems good in their mind, that's what they come and tell you, man. Some false vision, and then guess what happens? You eat it up, and you believe it, and then you realize it don't work out for you in the end, man. Go ahead.
And divination, and a thing of naught.
And a thing of naught, man.
And the deceit of their heart.
And the deceit of their heart. And in the Bible, it talks about your heart is your mind. The deceit of their mind, man. Whatever's in their mind, that's what they tell you, man. What seems good to them, that's what they come and tell you. What seems good to them, they come and tell you. They come and tell you, no, I think God won't be mad. Probably off pressure. Is it? Isn't it? Oh, noisy is. They tell you, oh, I think God won't be mad. That's what they tell you, man. So yeah, man. This is what they tell you, man. They give you a vision of their own heart, man. They don't tell you what God's really saying. They don't tell you what God's really saying, man. I'm telling you. Let me pull it up here. Let me pull it up. Jeremiah 14:14. Give me 1 second. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 14 and verse 14. Then the Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. So everything they tell you is lies, man. Everything they tell you is lies. What they're saying, God ain't really saying. And how do you know what God's saying? You have to open this Bible, man. You have to open this book, man. You have to go in this book, and then you will see what you're saying don't add up with what I'm reading here, man. But if you don't know it, then obviously you're just going to take on anything, man. You're just going to believe anything. It says, I sent them not. The Lord didn't send them. Half these people coming speaking to you, the Lord ain't sent them, man. The Lord ain't with them. The things that they're telling you is lies. But obviously you don't believe it. You're just going with the flow. That's what this world does. This society teaches you just go with the flow. Whatever seems right, just do it. Whatever seems nice, just do it. Whatever feels good, just do it. This world teaches you, have sex with whatever feels good. Do whatever feels good. Do whatever feels nice. YOLO, you only live once. God wouldn't be mad at you. I mean, God wouldn't be mad at you if you do this. God will be mad at you, man, if you do certain things. You break God's laws, God will be mad at you, man. Just understand that first. And this is why our lives is the way it is. This is why we're in slavery right now, man. You know why? Because we was doing what felt good. We was doing what felt right in our mind. But was it right in the eyes of God? No, man. We want to do what? We want to smoke drugs. We want to smoke weed. We want to smoke crack. That's what we want to do, man. We want to smoke drugs, man. And then realize later on down the line, like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Now you what? Now you're trying to rob everyone for crack money. Now you need methadone. Now you're doing all kinds of outrageous things. Listen, man, just obey God and you can avoid all of that. You don't even need to find out the hard way if we would just obey God. If we would just serve God, we wouldn't need to find out the hard way. But because we disobey God, obviously we have to go through the punishments and find out the hard way with everything in life. It says, I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. God said he didn't speak unto them. So what are they? Where are they getting this vision from that they're telling you? How can a man tell you that God's accepting of your disgusting lifestyle? How can a man tell you, God accepts your lifestyle when God ain't spoke to them? Here, God's telling you right here that he didn't speak to them, man. He ain't said a word to them. They ain't getting it from God. Neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and the thing of naught and the deceit of their mind. Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, and I sent them not. Listen, the Lord said they prophesy in his name, and he sends them not. Yes. The Lord said they prophesy not, and he sends them not, man. The Lord, listen, they prophesy in his name, and God didn't send them, man. So they're telling you all these lies. Your pastor taking all your money. Your pastor telling you, oh, this is a new age. This is a new age where you can do whatever you want. Give me Ezekiel chapter 13 and verse 6.
Ezekiel 13 and 6. They have seen vanity and lying divination.
They lie, man. Go ahead.
Saying, the Lord saith,
saying what?
the Lord saith,
Two men can get married, saying what?
the Lord saith,
A man can interracial marriage, what?
the Lord saith,
A man can smoke drugs, what?
the Lord saith,
A man can do whatever he wants.
the Lord saith.
And they say the Lord saith, man. They say the Lord said we can do all these things. And this is why your Pope's always molesting kids. They do that, man. And they say, well, the Lord saith. And then simple people say, well, the Pope, he's close to God. Maybe God did say it. If you knew the Bible, you'd realize none of these people that claim they're close to God are close to God, man. Only us in here are close to God, man. Some white man telling you lies about, the Lord saith that you must stand there and let him molest you, man. Your pastor telling you what? That you must stand there. Your pastor telling you that you must stand there and let him. There's a pastor that was rubbing oil on women's private parts and whatnot. Your pastor saying the Lord said, read that part again.
They have seen vanity and lying divination, saying the Lord saith.
The pastor saying, I need to rub your genitals with oil because what?
The Lord saith.
This is what I'm saying, man. They're lying to you, man. They're saying the Lord said, what happened? The feed dropped. On which, on YouTube?
YouTube,
yeah.
No, Facebook.
Yeah, man. People tell you, the Lord saith, man. Go ahead.
And the Lord have not sent them.
The Lord ain't sent them. He ain't said that to them. That's all made up. That's all in their own mind, man. Listen. These people molest you and say the Lord saith, man. And then guess what happens? You start thinking, it's right because God said. And God ain't sent them, man. God ain't sent them, man. And they're lying. Go ahead.
They have made others to hope that they would confirm the word.
And they've made others to hope, man. Go ahead.
And ye not seen a vain vision? Mm-hmm. Have you not seen a vain vision?
And have you not seen a vain vision and a worthless vision? Go ahead.
Have you not spoken a lying divination?
And they speak lies, man. Lies, lies, lies. Everything most people tell you in life is a lie, man. If they ain't coming from the Bible, it's a lie. This whole 21st century stuff where you can do whatever you want, it's a lie, man. You can't do whatever you want. All this, the law's done away with. It is a lie. Go ahead.
Khan. Whereas ye say, the Lord saith, albeit I have not spoken.
Listen, man. You're saying the Lord said this. You're saying the Lord said women should let you rub them down with anointing oil. And these women be simple as hell and let the pastor rub them down with anointing oil. like, listen, Crawford, they make out like this anointing oil is something, it's some magical oil. Like, they make it like it's some magical oil that comes down from heaven. And listen, don't let them fool you, man. All of this holy water, what did they say? It's holy water. Holy water. Listen, if you was there earlier, you would just see when your pastor just went to the bathroom. You just see when he went to the bathroom and listen. He's got the same water supply. He's paying 7 Trent for water, man. God. Don't make him lie to you about this holy water. That's just 7 Trent water, man. That you're paying for. Listen, it's not even cleaner than this Volvic water, man. It's just tap water that is telling you, holy water. Listen, man, you need to show me all of this and this holy water, and they make it like it came down from heaven, and you touch someone with it, and it heals them. And listen, your pastor will lie to you in the church. They have actors. They have actors that fake injuries, fake that they've got like a crooked leg, broken leg. The pastor will touch them, and then they get up out of the wheelchair. The part that you don't see is when the pastor pays them for the acting. That's the part that you don't see, man. Is when the pastor gives them their paycheck for the acting, man. You just be like, yo, man, my pastor healed such and such. All these women in church falling on the floor, talking about, I had the Holy Spirit. Listen, man, the Holy Spirit ain't you falling on the floor, man. The Holy Spirit ain't you falling on the floor and passing out and fainting and making a fool of yourself and dancing around the building and screaming in tongues. When really, all the tongues is another language, man. It's that simple. Like the Bible's straightforward, man. It ain't no magic about it like people make out. People make out like there's all this magic, and I heard some lunatics say if you read too much of the Bible, it turns you mad. Listen, people look at us like we mad. You know why? Because we don't live the life that they live. People look at us like we mad because what? We don't eat pork. And them in the world be like, you don't eat pork. You ain't tasted jerk pork. Jerk pork. So like people look at you like you're mad if you haven't tasted jerk pork. They look at you like you're mad if you ain't ate shrimp, crab, lobster. They look at you like you're mad if you don't go to gay pride. This is what they say to you. You follow this book. This book's so old and you believe it. That's what they say to you, man. They try and downplay what you believe, man. They try and downplay what you believe, man, because you don't want to conform to their lifestyle. Go ahead.
Behold, I am against you.
And the Lord said it's against them, man. The Lord's against all these sinners, man, and all these people that cause other people to sin, and all these people that lie in the name of God, and all these people that lie and say, and all of this. The Queen, when she lies and gives a Christmas speech about God and whatnot, and Easter and all these things. God's against all these things, man. People are lying in His name. People are lying in His name, man. God ain't with them things. Go ahead. Anyone that is that right?
And my hand shall be upon the prophets that see vanity.
And listen, man, the Lord said His hand shall be upon them, man. Meaning the time's coming when the Lord's going to deal with them for all them lies and so forth. Anything else on that? Or is that about it? Give me Psalms chapter 94 and verse 16.
Psalm 94 and 16. Who shall rise up for me against the evildoers? Who shall rise up for me against the evildoers?
It says, who shall rise up for me against the evildoers? So you see, everyone doing evil, everyone speaking evil in God's name and saying, God said this and God said that. God's asking, who shall rise up for me, man? Go ahead.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity, man? That's what we do, man. And when we tell people this, what do they say? Oh, use living in the past. You're living in the Stone Age. This is what they say to us at camp. If you hate me here, why don't you go back to Israel? They say, are you Israelites? Why don't you go back to Israel then? That's what they say to us. Some of them even get bright and say, why don't you go back to Africa? Listen, man, all of this nonsense, we ain't no Africans, man. That's a big misconception in the earth that we're Africans. People only say we're Africans because what, we're similar in skin complexion, man. That's all it is. We're just similar in skin complexion. But we ain't no Africans, man. Listen, it's like a Scirocco and a McGann look the same, but they're not the same car, man. They ain't the same car, man. They're different. They just look similar. That's it, man. We don't even look like Africans. We're just similar in skin complexion. Go ahead. Read that again from the top.
Who will rise up for me against the evil?
God said, who will rise up for me, man? Who will stand up for me? Rise up means to stand, man. Who will stand up? And we stand up for God against the evildoers. We stand up for God against the evildoers. Go ahead.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Or who will stand up for God against the workers of iniquity? Iniquity is what? Another word for sin, another word for transgressing the law. Who will stand up for God? Go ahead.
Unless the Lord have been my help, my soul, and almost dwelt in silence.
Listen, man, we stand up for God, man. Read the first part again. So when you come up against us, it's not us you're coming up against. It's God you're coming up against, man. It's God you're coming up against, man. You see all these things that you say to us, you ain't personally saying it to us. You're saying it to God and Christ, man. Right. When you call us all these names under the sun, you're saying it to God, man. You're telling God he's old-fashioned, man. You're telling God he's living in the Stone Age, man. You're telling God, go back to this place. You're telling God, go live under a rock when you think you're saying it to us. Because everything that we're telling you is what God is instructing in here, man. So all these things you're saying to us, you're saying it to God, man. Give me Galatians 6 and verse 7. The Lord is mocked. I believe that's the one.
Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked.
Be not deceived, man. God is not mocked. All these things you're doing and all these things you're saying, trying to mock God. You think you're mocking us, but you're mocking God, man. And God's saying, be not deceived, man. He's saying, Be not deceived, man. God is not mocked, man. Don't think I ain't gonna punish you for all this stuff you're doing. Go ahead.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap.
Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap, man. And these homosexuals, so homosexuality, what do they reap? AIDS, man. The Lord, listen, that's something that that's something that you shouldn't have to find out. If you was keeping God's laws, you wouldn't have to find out about that, man. You wouldn't have to find out about certain things, man. If you was keeping God's laws, you wouldn't need to find out about certain punishments. If you was keeping God's laws, you wouldn't need to find. You wouldn't need to reap certain things because you wouldn't be sowing those things in the first place. Read that again from the top.
Be not deceived, God is not mocked.
Be not deceived, God is not mocked.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also
whatsoever
reap.
a man soweth, that shall he also reap, man. And then the Bible also says what? The Lord's gonna visit the Lord's gonna visit the sinners, man. Listen, and those words right there should let you know it's a black man's book, man. When we're about to do some harm to someone, what do we say? Yo, I'm gonna go pay him a visit. That's what we say, man. The Lord say, listen, the white man sees a visit as when you come and sit down and have a cup of tea, right? The white man's visit is you come around and you have a cup of tea. He gives you that nice little saucer under the tea. Black people don't even do that. We don't even have saucers under tea, do we? The white man brings you a nice little saucer under the cup of tea with the spoon in there. Listen, man, that's their visits. When a black man says, yo, I'm gonna pay this nigger a visit. Usually black men say that when you owe them money, man. And that visit that they pay you, they ain't coming to have no cup of tea. And the visit the Lord's gonna pay you is the same, man. He ain't coming to sit down and have a cup of tea. He ain't coming to sit down and have crumpets and muffins. He ain't coming to sit down and watch the British Bake Off. Nah, man. The Lord's visit is going to be that visit, man, when it's time for him to dish out your punishment, man. Time for you to reap everything that you've sown. That's the visit that the Lord's talking about. Give me Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. Also, no sweat. You get it. So also, it's like what the last verse saying. Yeah. So everything you say evil to us that you think you're aiming at us, really you're aiming it at God, man. Because you telling me, oh, you living in the past, you're this, you're that. That's all aimed at God, man. That ain't aimed at me. Because I'm just doing what God instructs me, man. You're dissing the person who we obey, man. The person who we obey has sent us on this mission. So you ain't dissing us. Listen, you see when you go to ASDA and you argue with the colleague about the policy, it's not the colleague's policy. You're arguing with the person who runs ASDA's policy. And listen, when you argue with us, this ain't my policy. This is God's policy, man. This is God's policy that you're going against, man. Go ahead.
Malachi 3 and 6. For I am the Lord, I change not.
God said, I don't change, man. God ain't like these Christians that change every week. He ain't like your grandma. He ain't like your pastor. He ain't like your friends. He ain't like England. He ain't like the Queen that changes every week. Every week they change something. He ain't like Boris Johnson. Can't even get it together. Every week he changes what he said the last week. God said he changes not, man. God said, I change not, man. Meaning the same. And people make out this. Listen, this is what people make out. That the God you read about in the Old Testament is different from the God you read about in the New Testament. People make out like it's two different gods. This is what they say. Oh, the God of the Old Testament was so mean. That's what they say. The God of the Old Testament would kill people for little things. The God of the Old Testament would tell you stone your kids, blah, 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 blah. That's the kind of things that they say. The God of the Old Testament. Listen, man. He's the God of the whole Bible, man. The God of the whole earth, man.
Right.
And he don't change. He don't change, man. The whole point is this. When the Bible says in the law that you stone someone, that was written in there so you don't break the law, so you don't get stoned. That's the whole point, man. It was meant to pump fear in you to be like, I don't want to get stoned, so I'm not going to break that law. But then it turned into what? Black people being black people, like saying wanting to commit the crime, but they still want to get stoned so they don't commit it. When really, the reason you're not meant to break the law is because God told you not to. The reason is back then we was just not we was just keeping the law because what? Obviously, we knew that there was a punishment. Like now, most people want to be drug dealers, but they don't want to go to jail. When really, that's not the mindset to have. You should just not be a drug dealer because it's wrong to be a drug dealer. Instead of basically saying you would be a drug dealer if you wasn't going to go to jail. That's that's what people's doing. Whereas now the law was never meant to be like that. You was meant to keep the law because God told you to keep the law. Read that again for me.
God, for I am the Lord, I change not.
For I am the Lord, I change not, man. God don't change, man. So let me give you some laws of God's that still apply today. Let's start off with Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13, if I could.
Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
Listen, God don't change, so that's still an abomination, man.
Right.
God don't change, so that's still wrong.
Right.
That's still against God. You can't be coming in 2019 saying, well, that was back then. You can't be coming saying, oh, that was back then when a man could be a homosexual, when a man couldn't, but now he can. God said he changes not. And then nowadays, this earth pushes it, man. This earth pushes it to the max. Read that again one more time.
If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
And straight away, what happens? When we say it's against God to be gay, what do they say? You're small-minded. You're a bigot. What other words do they say? You're small-minded. You're a bigot. And if that makes me a bigot, I'd rather be a bigot than it. You know where I'm going with it. I'd rather be a bigot than it. Read that again.
If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death.
They shall surely be put to death, man. God said a homosexual has to be put to death because it's an abomination, a wicked, disgusting act. It's a disgusting, nasty, horrible act. God said they have to be put to death, man. People nowadays will tell you, surely God don't mind. What if they love each other? What if they're right for each other? What if they're made for each other? How about there's no what ifs about it, man? They're not made for each other. God did not make a man for a man. That's a lie, man. God did not make a man for a man. And if that's in your mind, it's disgusting, man. You better get rid of that demon, man. You better get rid of that demon that's telling you it's okay. Give me a Deuteronomy 22 and 5.
Deuteronomy 22 and 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
It says the woman shall not wear that which not pertaineth unto the man. Now this is talking about cross-dressing. Don't listen to these fake Israelite groups that tell you this means a woman can't wear jeans because there's jeans for women, man. Apple bottom jeans is for women, man. You mean to tell me if jeans is for men, that means a man could wear apple bottom jeans if all jeans pertain to men? There's pants for women, man. Don't listen to these liars trying to say to you that this scripture is talking about that. Nah, man. This scripture right here is talking about cross-dressing. That's what this is talking about. This scripture right here is talking about a man putting on his woman's underwear, like that GMS guy, putting on his woman's underwear and being a homosexual, man. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead.
Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, man. A man ain't supposed to put on a dress, a skirt, a bra. That's a woman's garment. Now, lo and behold, in 2019, you're small-minded if you don't accept this. You're small-minded if you don't agree with society. You're small-minded if you say it's wrong for a man to dress like a woman. It's wrong for a woman to dress like a man. You're very small-minded. Nowadays, you're small-minded and so forth. Give me Tobit chapter 4 and verse 12. Let me show you another one.
Tobit 4 and 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Hold on, do what?
Chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Hold on, does that say you can marry whoever you like?
Chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
No, you can marry a woman of another nation.
Take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Listen, man, if this makes us old-fashioned and whatnot, I guess we're going to have to be old-fashioned, man. I guess, well, the Bible does say, as for the old paths, and this is us asking for the old paths. Nowadays, in 2019, they make out like you're entitled to be with whoever you want. You're entitled to be with whoever your heart desires. You're entitled to be with whoever you fall in love with. But what does the Bible say there?
Chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Listen, man. God's saying, nah, man, don't be with no other woman outside of your race. People say, what? Oh, you're racist? How could, listen, I was having this convo on my slavery the other day. Some damn heathen was telling me, oh, that it's wrong that I was saying, it's wrong that I'm saying I would never let my kids marry out of their race. And guess what? There was an East Indian there that said he wouldn't let his kids marry outside of their race either. Guess what he said to me? He said, yeah, I agree with what you're saying because I'll never let my daughter marry a black man. And guess what I said to him? Most high in Christ. Because I wouldn't want none of my black people to marry some nasty East Indian.
Right.
So yeah, we both see eye to eye on that thing. Because what, and even he said what, and then he said this, that he wants his kids and their kids to have his culture. Because if his kids marry someone else, he said if his kids marry white people, what would happen? He said 2 generations down the line, all his kids will be Christian and they won't even know that their grandfather was a East Indian and was a Muslim and whatnot. And he's got the right idea, man. We don't want our children to marry outside of their race, because what happens when you marry outside of your race? Your children lose their culture. And don't give me none of this that, oh, I'm still going to teach them their culture. Because by you interracial marriage, and you've half left the culture, man. So don't even lie, man, and say, oh, I'm still going to teach them their culture. That's a damn lie, man. If you wanted to teach them their culture, you would teach them their culture by being with a woman of your own race, like the Bible says. It's not instead of trying to get you some woman that's not under the 12 tribe chart, some woman who God forbids you to be with. Read that again from the top.
Beware of all whoredom, my son. And
this was called whoredom, man. It said beware of whoredom. It was called a whoredom, man. What you consider loving who you fall in love with, the Bible called it whoredom, man. Whatever you see in, oh, I can love whoever I want. The Bible called it beware of all whoredom, man. Go ahead.
And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange wife.
Hold on, and do what?
And take not a strange woman to wife.
What about in 2019? What did it say?
And take not a strange woman to wife.
No, what about when times and the centuries change?
And take not a strange woman to wife.
It says take not a strange woman to wife. God's telling you out of the Bible, man. Don't marry outside of your nation. Don't marry someone that's not of your nation, man. Don't take a strange woman to wife, man. What's a strange woman? A stranger, man. Someone that's another race which ain't known to you, man. Another race, man. That's a stranger. That race is strange to your race, man. Go ahead.
Which is not of thy father's tribe, for we are the children of the prophets.
Which is not of thy father's tribe, man. Now, this right here, this doesn't mean if you're a Benjamite, you can only marry Benjamites. When it says which is not of your father's tribe, what it's basically saying, which it doesn't descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, your fathers. That's what it's saying. You can marry anybody on the 12 tribe chart. It's not specifically talking about you can't marry outside of your tribe. Obviously, you can marry outside of your tribe, like if you wanted to marry a Dominican sister, Puerto Rican sister, and so forth, a Judite, Levite, Benjamite, and so forth. You can, yeah. The law says you're allowed to. So when it says of your father's tribe, it's talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what it's talking about. That's our fathers. You can't marry outside of that lineage. So you can only marry in that lineage. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
Remember.
And don't be getting all simple saying, oh, Man, Abraham's the father of the Arabs. Maybe I can marry an Arab woman. Nah, man, it has to be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Don't be saying, well, Isaac had Jacob and Esau, so I can marry a white woman. Nah, man, it has to be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Stop trying to find loopholes in the Bible, man. There's no loopholes, man. There's loopholes in your mind. That's where the loopholes are at in your mind. Go ahead.
Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember my son that
It says
our
Noah,
fathers.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
Remember my son that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred.
They did what?
Married wives of their own kindred.
Married wives of their own kindred, man. Wives of their own family. Guess what? I guess Abraham must be small-minded. Noah must be small-minded. Isaac and Jacob must be all small-minded. Damn, God must be small-minded because God said it. So when you call us small-minded, you're calling God small-minded, man. Go ahead.
Fine. Now therefore, my son, and we're blessed in their children.
And we're blessed in their children, man. Go ahead.
And their seed shall inherit the land.
And their seed shall inherit the land, man. These Israelite babies. That's it on that, man. Give me Psalms chapter 19 and verse 9. And there you have it out the Bible, man. You can't interracial marriage. You can't, man. You can't be a homosexual. You can't be a transgender. You can't eat pork. All them laws still apply. Every last one of them still applies. You're not gonna get out of it, man. Go ahead.
Psalms 19 and 9. The fear of the Lord is clean.
The fear of the Lord is what?
Clean.
The fear of the Lord is clean, man. Keeping God's laws is clean. Not interracial marriage is clean. Not smoking weed is clean. Go ahead.
Enduring forever. The judgment of the Lord are true.
The what?
Judgments of the Lord are true.
The judgments of the Lord are true, man. You come in saying, oh, no, we can do this and that now. You're a liar, and the judgments of the Lord are true. There's a difference, man. Everything God says is true, and everything you say is a lie. Go ahead.
More?
Is there anyone that? Yeah, go ahead.
And righteousness altogether.
And righteousness altogether, man. If you want to be righteous, you have to do what God says. You can't be doing what feels good in your mind. What feels good. You can't be doing what makes you feel good. What helps you sleep at night. What puts your mind at ease. You can't be doing that. Go ahead.
More to be desired are they than gold.
More what?
More to be desired are they than gold.
So there's more to be desired than gold, man. Keeping God's laws is better than gold, better than riches, better than money. It's more to be desired than gold. The reason it said gold is because what? Gold's precious. Go ahead.
Sweeter also than honey
and honeycomb.
Honey
Sweeter also than honey and honeycomb. Go ahead.
Moreover, by them is thy servant warned.
No, that's it on that. If you could, give me the definition of a bigot. Let me see the definition of a bigot. Let's see what the definition of a bigot is.
A bigot, a person who is intolerant toward those holding different opinions.
So listen, if they call us a bigot, that would make them a bigot because they're intolerant of our opinions, right? So listen, how can they call us a bigot and they're not a bigot? A bigot is what?
A person who is intolerant toward those holding different opinions.
And especially these homosexuals, listen, they call us bigots, and because we don't accept their lifestyle, they call us a bigot, man. They're a bigot, and they you know what? You know the other word. They're a bigot, and they read that again.
A person who is intolerant towards those holding different opinions.
So listen, they call us bigots because they say we intolerant towards those holding different opinions. Really, this really, they're saying what? God's a bigot then, right? Because God's intolerant of your opinions, man. Have no different opinions, man. It's God's way or no way, man. It's God's way or no way. You see how people say you spoil if you say it's my way or no way. Listen, God has it his way or no way, man. What are you going to tell God he's spoiled? Listen, man, all these things you say to us, you're really saying it to God, man. calling us a bigot. Give me a Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23.
Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart with all diligence.
Meaning what? Mindfulness, carefulness. Your mind is what? Keep your mind with all diligence, because you see your mind. Before you do any transgression, it's in your mind first, and then it's up to you if you're going to act upon it or not act upon what's in your mind. So you need to, once some demon jumps in your mind, you need to think with all, keep your mind with all diligence. Go ahead.
For out of it are the issue of life.
For what?
For out of it are the issues of life.
For out of your mind is all the issues of life. You think it's good to be a homosexual, it pops in your mind first. It pops in your mind first, like, oh, I wonder, should I try this? And then guess what happens? Before you know it, you're a man going on all fours. It pops in your mind first, and before you know it, you're a man doing that disgusting act. Because out of your mind comes all the what?
The issues of life.
Well, out of your mind comes all the issues of life. Before you smoke a spliff, it comes in your mind like, yeah, I'm a phone the dealer at 6 p.m. I'm gonna phone the dealer at 6 p.m. And then you phone him, then before you know it, you're taking drugs. It comes in your mind, you look at the menu, on your mind's like, what should I get? Should I get chicken or should I try that pork? It comes in your mind first, and you try that pork. Keep your mind with all diligence, man. Go ahead.
Put away from thee a froward mouth.
Put away from thee a froward mouth. Go ahead.
And perverse lips. Put far from thee.
Put far from thee, man. And you need to put all these evil thoughts and all these transgressions you're doing, put them far away from you, man. Meaning stop doing them, cut them out, and don't do them no more, man. Don't do them no more, because those is against God. Give me Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13.
Matthew 7 and 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate.
Enter ye in at the straight gate. But hold that. Give me the definition of small-minded.
Small-minded, having or showing rigid opinions or a narrow outlook.
Listen, man. That's what they say about us with small-minded, right? They say, oh, what did you say? We got rigid opinions. Like, we've got rigid opinions because we're saying a man shouldn't be with a man. We're saying a woman shouldn't be with a woman. So to society, that's a rigid opinion. They say we're small-minded, man. They say we're small-minded. Go ahead, read on.
Enter ye in at the straight gate.
No, read the rest of the small-minded. No, the narrow outlook as well. Read that part.
Oh, narrow outlook or petty.
This is to say having or showing rigid opinions or a narrow outlook. Hold that and read Matthew 7:13.
Matthew 7:13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which
and
go.
Great is the way that leads to destruction. Great is the way that leads to destruction, man. Meaning what? This gate being open wide, you doing anything you want, man. You doing anything you want, whatever feels right, whatever feels good to you, it leads to destruction. Go ahead.
Which go thereat, but straight is the gate, and narrow is the way.
Hold on, straight is the what?
Straight is the gate, and narrow is the way.
Listen, man, Christ is saying you better be narrow-minded if you want to. Christ is saying you better be small-minded if you want to make it to this kingdom, man. Because what happens if you've got a big mind? You're open to homosexuality, man.
Right.
You're open to transgenderism, if that's even the same, transgenderism. You're open to what? Pedophilia.
Right.
You're open to rape. You're open to all of these things. If you're big-minded, listen. The Bible says, having or showing rigid opinions or a narrow outlook. Give me the definition of narrow.
Narrow, a small width in relation of length.
Listen, man, you better have a narrow mind, man. Because if you've got a big mind, you're open to all kinds of things. You better keep your mind narrow, man. you better keep your mind of small width in relation to length, man. Because if you've got a big mind, you're open to all kinds of disgustingness. Pick it back up in the book of Matthew.
Matthew 7:13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the
Enter ye
gate.
in at the straight gate. This gate is narrow, man. And people say, oh, we're small-minded, we're narrow-minded. This gate is narrow, man.
Right.
So it's only right. You have to be narrow-minded. They call us small-minded. Guess what? Jesus Christ, they're calling Jesus Christ small-minded. They're calling God small-minded. They're calling all these prophets in the Bible small-minded, because all these prophets in the Bible stood with God, man. The same thing that God stands for, we stand for, man. So they're calling God small-minded. Go ahead.
God. For broad is the way that leadeth to destruction.
Broad
and
is the
many
way
gates-
that leadeth to destruction. And you having a broad mind, a big mind, your mind open to everything, that leads to destruction. That leads to you dying a horrible death, man. That leads to you committing all kinds of transgressions, all kinds of evil, all kinds of wickedness. That's what that leads to. Go ahead.
And many there be which go thereat.
And many there be which go there at. So the majority who tell you you're small-minded and narrow-minded and a bigot, they're on that broad path. So how are they supposed to see the same thing as you? They can't see the same thing as you because you're on a righteous path and they're on an unrighteous path. So they're trying to beat you down because they want you to join the broad way with them. The reason why there's not a lot of people that believe what you believe is because the path is narrow and you have to be small-minded. You have to be small-minded to be on this path, man. Go ahead.
Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way.
Straight is the gate and narrow is the way. This way is narrow, meaning you have to be doing something different to the rest of the world. You see how the rest of the world goes carnival, shakes their behind like they ain't got a care in the world. You can't do that, man. That's the broad way. Everybody else smokes drugs. That's the broad way. Everybody else, their life has no laws and there's no restrictions on what they can and can't do. That's the broad way. There's no discipline and no structure to their life. That's the broad way. But you see, your life is hot, it's strict. Your life is strict, it's routine, it's disciplined. You have to keep laws in your life. You can't eat anything you want. You can't have sex with anything you want. You can't live anyhow you want. You know why? Because you're on a narrow path where your life means something, man. Where you keep God's laws. Those people on the broad path, they don't care about their life. Their life don't mean nothing, man. They live by YOLO. They live by you only live once. That's what they live by. Whereas you live by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. So straight away, they're not going to see eye to eye with you because already you're on two different paths. Already you're on one road and they're on the opposite road. So you're not going to see eye to eye. So when they don't see eye to eye with you, don't get weak and be like, oh, I want all of us to get along. We're not going to get along, man, because we're on two different paths. One's on the narrow path, one's on the broad path. One path leads to destruction, one path leads to life.
Right.
And that's like anything in life. Something that seems too good usually ain't too good. In their life, they see it as, oh, I've got all this freedom. I'd rather be doing what I'm doing than what you're doing. Like, you see how we at class right now? They would rather be what? Trapping, selling drugs. They would rather be doing that because that seems good to them, not realizing that broad way leads to destruction, man.
Right.
That way leads to death. That way leads to jail. Whereas right here, what we're doing, this way leads to life, man. And it's narrow, and only few people come on this narrow path. Go ahead.
God. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leadeth unto
Because
life.
straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. So the same is small-minded, and by the definition of small-minded, we need to be small-minded, man, which leads to life. They come with all these trying to disrespect you, and listen, man, just let them do it, because they ain't dissing you, they're dissing God. They're calling God small-minded, man, because God said a man can't be gay. Why they mad at us for us repeating what God said?
God.
And they're like, oh, that's in the past, that's old. Go ahead.
And few there be that find it.
And few there be that find it. Only a few find it. Only a few. but many find the broad path. So if only a few find the narrow path, that should let you know that many find the broad path. Go ahead.
Beware of false prophets.
Beware of false prophets. People pretending to you that the prophets, but they're not. These liars and whatnot. Go ahead.
God, which come unto you in sheep's clothing.
They come unto you in sheep's clothing. You know why it says sheep's clothing? Because what? Wolves devour sheep. And these pastors are devouring you, but they come to you like a sheep. They come to you lowly like they're harmless, but really they're wolf in sheep's clothing and they come to devour you. That's what it says, wolves in sheep's clothing. Go ahead.
Which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Inwardly, the ravening wolves, man. Inwardly, their inward thoughts is to what? Destroy you, man. See you destroyed, rob you, get rich off of you, make all your money their money. That's what they do. Go ahead.
Ye shall know them by their fruits.
Ye shall know them by their fruits. Now, if you see a tree and you see strawberries on there, some people say it's a strawberry tree. If there's even such a thing, I don't know. But, yeah. Because I've never seen one to be very like an apple tree. So, say for instance, if you see apples, you know it's an apple. Wait, can you Google it? I don't think they do either. Wouldn't surprise me though. Say for instance, if you see an apple tree, you know them because there's the tree that is an apple tree because there's apples on the tree. The tree is the root of it and so forth, and what you see from it is its fruits. So from this apple tree, you would see apples, which lets you know it's an apple tree. So that's what it says. You shall know them by their fruits. You shall know them by what they produce. Go ahead when you get
that. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
The men gather grapes along with thorns and thistles, man. Go ahead.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit.
Every what?
Good tree bringeth forth good fruit.
Every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, man. And in the I.S.U.P.K, this is a good tree that bringeth forth good fruit, man.
Right.
You see anywhere else, in your fake Israelite groups in your Christian church, they gather thistles and thorns, man. They gather homosexuals. They gather African men that are killing sisters. They gather people that they're not even meant to be gathering, man. What was his name? Shofar Al. They gather people like Shofar Al. It was his name. They gather people like Shofar Al and all these next things, man. Go ahead. You should let you know that they're not a good tree. They gather people that what? Go to brothels to see transsexuals, man. They gather people that is police officers that lock you up and whatnot. Go ahead.
But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruits.
But what?
A corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruits.
And you should see what these trees produce, man. You should see what they produce. Go ahead.
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Christian church, don't bring forth good fruit, man.
Right.
What the Christian church would do is, this is all they would do. They'll stop a man from doing one transgression and then he does another. They'll stop a man from what? Being a drug dealer, but then he becomes a homosexual, right?
Right.
He becomes singing in the choir. So he went from selling drugs to now holding another man's hand, singing in the choir. And they see that as, in church, they see that as, well, it's good he's not a drug dealer no more. Listen, man, you've just turned him gay now, man. That's wrong, man. And this is why all these false prophets, this is why we speak about them so much, man, because we have to expose them. Because not a lot of people know that they're false prophets. Because you've been in there so long, you just believe everything they're telling you is the truth and whatnot when it's all lies. Go ahead.
God. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
Every tree that don't bring good fruit is cut down and cast into the fire, man. Go ahead.
Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them.
Therefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. So you know these trees by what they produce. You know these trees by what they produce. Islam brings the fruits of Islam is what? Drug dealers and murderers, man.
Right.
Everyone that's in jail is a Muslim, is a drug dealer, And then guess what happens when it comes to Eid? Every Friday, this is what they say, Juma Mubarak. Every Friday, you see them post a picture in the mosque, sitting on the floor with their silly little mosque hat on, with their silly little kufi and their mandress, barefooted. You see them? You see them barefooted, sitting down or sitting on the floor. That's what Islam produces, man. It produces murderers and drug dealers. And this is why every drug dealer you know is probably Muslim. The Christian church produces what? Homosexuals and women that's going to put you on child support. And independent black women, that's what they produce, independent women. The church produces that evil fruit, independent women. That's what it produces, man. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Look at all these religions and just look at the people in these religions and look at how the people behave. And it should let you know that these people ain't serving God, nor are they the house of God. It should let you know that. Go ahead.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
And listen, everybody likes to say, Lord, Lord, I serve God, I serve God, I believe in Jesus. Listen, everybody believes in Jesus, man. Everybody believes in Jesus, but not everybody that says they believe in Jesus, Lord, Lord, it says means master, master, go ahead.
Shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, man. Not everyone that says it shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Because everywhere you go, everybody tells you they believe in God. Everyone tells you they believe in God. But do they do what God tells them to do? Do they do what God requires of them? No, they don't. Go ahead.
But he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven.
But he that doeth the will of my Father, and we do the will of the Father, man. And where do you find the Father's will? All throughout the Bible, man. You find out all throughout the Old Testament and the New what God wants you to do. So people say, no, this is the 21st century. We're going to do it how we want to do it. Those people ain't going to enter the kingdom of heaven, man.
Right.
You on that broad path. You ain't going to enter the kingdom of heaven, man. Go ahead.
Many will say unto me in that day, Lord, Lord.
And you see these many people. These is the many people which is on the broad way, who's got a broad mind, who ain't small-minded, who ain't narrow-minded like they like to call us. Go ahead.
Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name?
And they'll say, Lord, ain't we prophesied in your name? We went out and teach. We went out and did this. Go ahead.
And in thy name have cast out devils.
They're going to say, yeah, we got everyone to flee to Cyprus. We told everyone, is that where it is? We made everyone flee to Cyprus and Egypt, and we taught everyone this and that. We taught everyone some flea doctrine and whatnot. Go ahead.
And in thy name have done many wonderful works.
In thy name, and they're going to say, but we've done many wonderful works. In their mind, they think they've done wonderful works, man. They ain't done wonderful works. What they've just done is just set people backwards, man. Go ahead.
And then I will profess unto them.
Us in here are small-minded and bigots. Christ is going to say, I never knew you. You're probably going to be there with your what LGBT colors on, because your pastor done told you it's all right to wear them. All right, because your pastor done marriages. You're going to come there. Christ is going to look at you. Well, I didn't know you. Go ahead.
Depart.
Face, man. You saw when you know when someone says to you, get out of my face. That's man. Depart from me. Go ahead.
Ye that work iniquity.
There you go. Ye that didn't want to keep God's laws, man.
Right.
Ye that didn't want to ask for the old path. Ye that didn't want to remember the days of old, like the Bible says. It's going to say, depart from me. What verse you at?
24.
Hey, go ahead.
Therefore, whosoever hears these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken unto a wise man.
Therefore, whoever does these things and does them and keeps them, who will liken him unto a wise man. So while this whole world looks down on us and calls us all these names, they call us bigots and small-minded. Jesus Christ calls us a wise man. He calls us a wise man.
Right.
That's what we call a wise man. Go ahead.
Which built his house upon a rock.
We wise that built our house upon a rock. Why? What's a rock? Something strong, good ground, good surface. Meaning we stand on something. We stand on something firm, man. What we believe in, we stand on something firm, man. We rooted in good ground. We built upon a rock. Go ahead. Like you build houses upon rocks because it's what? Good ground. Go ahead.
And the rain descended and the floods came.
And hard times come. And you annoying people call us names and call us all of this and try and get us to follow you and do evil. The rain comes, go ahead.
And the wind blew.
And the wind blows, all these trials, these tribulations, these hard times, go ahead.
And beat upon that house.
And what?
Beat upon that house.
And people trying to beat us down and trying to get us to leave the truth and trying to get us to celebrate Christmas and Easter. They're trying to beat upon us to do all these things. Go ahead.
And it fell not.
And it what?
And it fell not.
And it fell not, man. Because we're rooted in good ground, man. This house right here is built on good ground. So it don't fall. So this house withstands anything, man. Anything they want to throw at us, this house withstands because it's rooted in good ground. Go ahead.
It was founded upon a rock.
It was what?
Founded upon a rock.
And it's in good ground. It was founded upon a rock, man. I.S.U.P.K is that rock, man. Right. And that's what this is founded upon. Go ahead.
And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened.
And everyone that hears Christ's sayings and does them not, doesn't keep his sayings, go ahead.
Shall be likened unto a foolish man.
Shall be what?
Likened to a foolish man.
And everybody outside of here is likened unto a foolish man, a silly man that hears these sayings and don't do them. Go ahead.
Which built his house upon the sand.
Which built his house upon the sand. If you build your house upon the sand, you're silly, man. Meaning what? Your foundation's weak, man. Go ahead. You ain't standing on nothing. You're hearing these things, but you're not standing upon it. You ain't gonna last long, man. Go ahead.
And the rain descended, and the floods came.
And the rain descended. Hard time comes, trials, tribulations, bit of hard times. You have a bit of money problems or whatnot. Go ahead.
And the wind blew.
You struggles come and start to beat upon the house, start to beat upon you. Go ahead.
And it fell.
And it what?
And it fell.
And it what?
And it fell.
And it fell, man. And this is what happens if you ain't rooted in the truth, man. Once these things come, once these trials come and these troubles come, you're going to fall, man. You know why? Because you're not rooted. Go ahead. Is that you? Go ahead. Go ahead.
And great was the fall of it.
Go ahead. Read on.
And great was the fall of it.
And great was the fall of it, man. Meaning that great was fall. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Yahweh had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine.
And when he ended these sayings, they was astonished at his doctrine. Go ahead.
For he taught as one having authority.
For he what?
Taught as one having authority.
He taught as one having authority, man. Meaning he taught, strict, like he taught like he was in charge, man. He taught them with authority, man. He taught them properly, man. He was stern with his teachings. He taught them properly, like one having authority. But that's it. And give me Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 17.
Yes,
Ephesians 4 and 17. Winter's coming back. You see how dark it is out there, damn.
Ephesians 4 and 17. This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk.
Go ahead.
In vanity of their mind.
In what?
Vanity of
their mind. I mean, what's in their mind is just worthless. All their thoughts is pointless. Everything they do is pointless. The way the things that they desire is pointless. Don't be like them. Go ahead.
Having the understanding darkened.
Having what?
The understanding darkened.
And everybody out there that calls us names and so forth, and they ain't in the truth and tries to belittle us, their understanding is darkened, man. They can't see that this place ain't going to be here forever, man. They can't see that this life that they're living ain't going to be here forever. They think that the life that they're living is going to be here forever. They think they're not going to have to answer to God one day. They think they're not going to be before the judgment seat of God one day, man. Go ahead.
Being alienated from the life of God.
Being what?
Alienated from the life of God.
And most of these people is alienated from the life of God, man. Alien means what? Stranger. Get me? They're strangers to the life of God, man. They don't understand it, man. Their mind's been darkened. And all they know how to do is break God's laws and do whatever feels good. Do what makes you feel comfortable. Do what makes you feel nice. Do what makes you feel sweet. Go ahead.
God, through the ignorance that is in them.
Through the ignorance that is in them, man. Ignorant means to what? To not know. And some people just want to be ignorant. Most of these people want to be ignorant, man. Go ahead.
God, because of the blindness of their heart,
Because of the blindness of their heart, man. And your heart is your mind. They're blind to these things. They don't know about these things, nor do they understand these things. Go ahead.
who being past feeling have given themselves over to lasciviousness.
Who being past feelings, man? Who being past feelings, man? Which is what lust, strong desire, and so forth, man. Let's do this studiousness. Go ahead.
To walk, to work all uncleanliness,
To what?
work all uncleanliness,
See, you call it living your best life. God calls it what?
uncleanliness,
You call it living your best life, and God calls it uncleanliness. You call it, I'm a man that fell in love with another man. God calls it uncleanliness, man.
right.
You be a man wanting to be a woman. You call it, I was trapped in the wrong body. God calls it uncleanliness, man. Go ahead.
With greediness, but ye have not so learned Yahushua.
And they ain't learned Christ, man. Go ahead.
If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him as the truth that is in Yahushua.
And if you've heard him and been taught by him, you need to have the same mind that Christ has got, man, which we've got. And the same mind that we've got is the mind that the world calls a small mind. Is the world is a what the world calls narrow-minded. There's some next words that they use. What's the other ones they use? I can't remember. This is for old-fashioned. I can't remember what they say.
Small-minded, closed-minded.
Yeah, we close-minded. Yeah. So basically, they're saying that Christ has a closed. His mind's closed-minded. And listen, I'd rather my mind be closed than have it open to all this homosexuality, man.
Right.
I'm keeping this closed-minded mentality, man. Closed-minded is the right thing to have nowadays. Before you know it, your mind's open to everything. Every century they bring out something new. Every century you're changing what you want to follow, what you want to believe, what's accepted. You just go with the times. All you do is you just go with the flow. Go ahead.
God, that ye put off concerning the former
What
conversation.
verse you at?
22.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of the old man, which is corrupt, according to deceit.
And this is what you need to do, man. You need to put off the old man, which is corrupt. Why is that white man? No, not white. Well, the white man is corrupt, but why is the old man corrupt? Because he's doing everything which goes against God. That old man is you before you come to the truth. The person you was before the truth. That's the old man. Because that old man used to what? Smoke cigarettes,
Right.
eat pork, have sex with whoever he wanted to have sex with. That's the old man. Whereas the new man has morals. The new man has standards. The new man ain't how the old man. Go ahead.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
And be what?
Be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind, man. Have a new mind, a new outlook on life, man. As they would say, have a closed mind, man. Have a small mind, like what they like to say about us. Instead of having a broad mind where your mind was open to everything, man. Go ahead.
And that ye put on the new man.
And that you put on the new man, meaning this is a new man. Once you come in here and you get your Hebrew name, this is a new man. You ain't no longer the person that you was before. So you can't be doing the same things as the person you was before was doing. Because you're now a new person, man. You're now a new person. A new person who's raised right this time. A new person who knows the laws this time. A new person who knows the feast days. A new person who knows what to eat and what not to eat. A new person who knows that he's an Israelite and the Bible's a black man's book. You should know all these things. Whereas the old man didn't. The old man was taught what? December 25th is Jesus' birthday. That's what the old man believed. You can't be the new man still celebrating Christmas, buying Christmas presents, singing happy birthday songs, dancing, and so forth. All of those things, singing happy birthday to your missus and whatnot. That's what the old man used to do. The new man can't be doing that. Because if you are the new man doing that, guess what? Really, you're not a new man. You're still the old man. That simple. Go ahead.
Which after the Most High is created.
Which what?
Which after the Most High is created.
Which after the Most High is created, man. This new man is created after the Most High. Whereas the old man was created what? After the rest of the world, after how they want you to be. This new man is created after the Most High. Go ahead.
In righteousness.
In what?
In righteousness.
Created in righteousness, man. Meaning you shouldn't be breaking God's laws, man. This new man is created in righteousness, whereas the old man was what? Unrighteous. The old man was just born of two parents, came out the womb, ate whatever they fed you, ate pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, grew up, liked pork, kept eating it, and so forth. Started to smoke cigarettes when you probably what? Why do people start smoking cigarettes about 12, 13?
God, what younger?
See, people start smoking cigarettes at 11, 12. That's what the old man did. Whereas the new man's created in righteousness. The new man's going to say, no, I'm not smoking no cigarettes, man. I ain't going to eat no pork. I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do that. That's what the new man's going to say, who's created in righteousness. Go ahead. What verse you at?
25.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Give me a Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4.
Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might.
And listen, man, this is what we're supposed to do, man. Nothing else matters, man. This is what we're supposed to do. Love God with all our might, our soul, our mind, everything, man. And that way you won't break no law. You love God like that. You love God how? By doing what He says, man. Go ahead.
And with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart.
And these words which is commanded this day shall be in what?
Thy heart.
Meaning in your mind. So this is why what we say is what we say, man, because these words is in our mind. This is why we can't agree with you on things, man. This is why we can't agree with you on some disgusting acts that you believe is right. Because we based our mind is based off the Bible, man. We go by what God says in the Bible. Go ahead.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto your children.
And listen, man, honestly, now more than ever, you need to teach your kids this diligently, man. Because the amount of how they're pushing this gay movement in schools, they got transgender teachers reading them story time books. Have you seen it? Reading them story time books. Sorry, say that again. They got all this, reading them books. So you need to teach your kids these diligently, man, so they can keep these laws and they can know right from wrong. Because this society is what softening them up. It's making them numb to certain things. So 10, 15 years down the line, the whole world is going to be full of men that want to be women, women that want to be men, and then. Like back in my day, it was looked at as like, remember when it was looked at like, it was looked at like, that's disgusting, he's gay. Nowadays, now, if you say, he's gay, people look at you like you're the problem now. People look at you like you the one who's the problem. When back then, everyone understood that person was the problem and nobody would want to be around them. And then now they've got it into a place where two gay men feel that they can come to the club and dance on each other in front of everyone now. Whereas before they had to hide that stuff and keep that secret. So it's best to teach your kids this now more than ever. You need to teach them this more than ever. Because if you don't teach them this, what's going to happen is they're just going to grow up and it's just going to be the norm for two men to be together, two women to be together. It's just going to be normal to them if you don't teach them this diligently. And that's why God said teach them this diligently, man. So when they grow up, they know all these laws from a kid. They know all these laws from a kid. Go ahead.
And thou shalt teach them diligently to thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house.
And listen, man, this is just basically means talk about them at all times, man. Obviously, it don't literally mean every time you're in the house you have to talk about them 24/7, but it just means teach them, and the Lord's just trying to drill it into your head like, yo, teach your kid these laws, man. No matter where you are, teach them. Go ahead.
And when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes.
Frontlets means what's frontlets? Something that's in front of you, man. You remember these laws everywhere you go, man, and you carry out these laws, man. There was some lunatic on Facebook that actually. Do you see that thing when you actually put the commandments on his hand? Simple, man. Go ahead.
And ye shall write them on the posts of thy house, and upon thy gates. And it shall be when the Lord thy God shall have brought thee into the land which he sware unto thy fathers.
Yeah, basically that's going into something else. And that's going on into when we was going into the land. But obviously, because we didn't keep these laws and we didn't teach these diligently to our kids, we're in slavery where most of our people don't even know that they're Israelites, where most of our people don't even know that Jesus is black. Most of our people don't know that Moses is black. Most of our people don't know that this is a black man's book. Most of our people don't know that they're on the 12 tribe chart, because what, we didn't teach it diligently to our kids. If this was taught to our kids on down and down and down, everybody would know this, but obviously it's not taught, so most people don't know and just go live life any way they want. They just live life doing anything they want to do. Drop that, give me Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7.
Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Remember the days of old.
Do what?
Remember the days of old.
No, that's in the past. Do what?
Remember the days of old.
Oh, that's the Stone Age.
Remember the days of old.
No, those days, everyone was small-minded those days.
Remember the days of old.
The Bible says, remember the days of old, man. Remember them old days, go ahead.
Consider the years of many generations.
Consider the years of many generations. Like in the old days, this thing's what's going on now. It was going on back then, but not on this large scale. Go ahead.
Ask thy father, and he will show thee.
Ask your father, and he will show thee, man. Ask your father, man. Like, obviously, most of us Benjamites, dad probably lived in Jamaica and came over probably in 60s, 70s. You ask him, like, you can ask your dad, like, was this homosexuality thing rampant how it is today? And he will say, nah, man, it weren't, man. Remember the days of old, man. We need it to go back to before all of this stuff started, man, before they opened the floodgates for all of this nonsense to come in, for all of these drugs, this weed, and so forth. Back then, the rest was only smoking weed now, which is wrong nowadays. Everyone's smoking all sorts of nonsense. Now you got what? All these weird names for it. Cookie Scout. What other names? Gelato. I mean, yeah. I'm scared to order gelato. Like, gelato to me is ice cream, innit? Gelato to me is ice cream. I'm scared to say the word gelato now because people probably think, oh, he's one of them Israelites that talks about God, but then I heard him order gelato. Listen, man. Gelato's ice cream now. These have come up with all these names: Kelly Bud, Disbud, Blue Cheese. What is it? Blue Cheese. All these weird names. All these weird names, man. All of these have come out of nowhere, man. Go ahead.
Thy elders, and they will tell you, when the Most High divided to the nations the inheritance.
That's something that's going to be honest. Give me Matthew 5 and verse 17.
Matthew 5 and 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
Christ said, think not that I am come to destroy the law, man. Think not. This goes out for everyone out there. Think not that I'm not come to destroy the law. So all you people that think Jesus is this nice, soft, cuddly person that's going to love you if you're homosexual. What did he say?
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
So think not that I am come to destroy the law, man. He said he ain't come to do away with the law. He ain't this person that you've been taught he is, man. Go ahead.
All the prophets, I am not come to destroy.
Christ said he ain't come to do with the destroy the law or the prophets. People say, oh yeah, the Bible's old, that's the Stone Age. Christ said he ain't come to do away with the Stone Age, man.
Right.
He said he ain't come to do away with the Stone Age. He said he ain't come to destroy the law or the prophets, meaning what? He ain't come to destroy the law of Moses and the Tanakh, which is the book of the prophets from so forth. Go ahead.
I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. To fulfill means continuing, carry on out. Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass.
He said, verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, man. And where are you right now? You're on earth. And when you look up, you can see the heavens. Go ahead.
One jot or one tittle.
One jot or one tittle. Go ahead.
Shall in no wise pass from the law.
So one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. So loads of these people, you line on Christ, man. When you say, "Oh, Christ would be accepting of this wickedness you're doing," he said, "One jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law," which means what? He ain't in agreement with you, man. Which means he don't condone what you're doing, man. He said he didn't come to destroy the law. He said he didn't come to do away with the law. Go ahead.
Till all be fulfilled.
To what?
to all be fulfilled.
And all ain't being fulfilled, man. You know why all ain't being fulfilled? Because you're still in slavery, man. If all was fulfilled, you wouldn't be in slavery right now. Go ahead. Which should let you know all ain't been fulfilled.
Whosoever shall break,
Listen, Jesus ain't returned yet, which should let you know all ain't been fulfilled. Go ahead.
whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Whoever what?
Shall break one of the least commandments.
It says, whoever shall break one of the least commandments, a commandment that you see as something small, if you break the least of them, go ahead.
And teach men so.
And not just break it, you teach men to break it also, man. Go ahead.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
You shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven, man. Meaning you're going to be low, man. You're going to be the lowest of the low. You see how it says the poor will never cease out of the land? That's going to be you, man. The least in the kingdom of heaven, man. Go ahead.
But
you're going to be in the kingdom of heaven. You ain't going to be able to call no shots. The least in the kingdom of heaven, you ain't going to be able to call no shots. Your word ain't going to hold no weight. You see like how just the average white man on the street, his word don't hold no weight. Whereas you see the high up white man like Prince Philip can crash into people and just go about his business. Listen, man, Prince Philip is great in this kingdom, whereas the white man that you just see on the street, his what homeless man is least in this kingdom. You teach men to break God's laws, that's going to be you, man, the least in this kingdom. You're going to say to everyone, no one go down there. Everyone's going to look at you like, who are you? Who are you? I'm going to look at you like, who are you? I'm like, what rank are you got? What rank are you got? Who are you? Go ahead.
But whosoever shall teach them, the same shall be great in the kingdom of heaven.
And whoever shall teach them, the same shall be great in the kingdom of heaven. Meaning this man's word is going to hold weight. This man's going to be able to say, I think the Arabs should eat today. I think the Chinese should eat today. Yeah. I think this guy usually is on the field till this time. I think the field for I'll give him instead of a 10-minute break, I'll give him an hour break this time, and so forth. Go ahead.
For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
So your righteousness has to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, man. And if not, you ain't gonna enter into the kingdom of heaven, man. Meaning what? You can't be a hypocrite like the Pharisees was, because what would they do? They would say one thing and do the other. They would say one thing and do the other, man. They would tell you one thing and do the other. You have to be more righteous than them. Meaning you can't be a hypocrite. That's what you're saying right there. You can't be a hypocrite, man. Drop that. Give me John chapter 15 and verse 18.
John 15 and 18. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you.
If the world hate you, just not hated Christ before it hated us. Meaning what? This world hates Christ. Everyone that hates us hates Christ. Every horrible thing they say to us, they've said it about Christ first, man. All this go back to this place, the Stone Age, fairy tale, all this the Bible's a myth, it's a fairy tale. Listen, man. All of these people hate Christ, man. Everything they say about us, they're saying the same thing about Christ. When they say what we're idiots, they said he's an idiot first, basically. When they say with this, they said it about him first. Go ahead.
If ye were of the world would love his own.
If we was of the world would love us, meaning what? If we celebrated Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, LGBT, the world would love us, man, because that's what they celebrate. If we celebrated those things, this world would love us. Go ahead.
But because ye are not of the world.
But because what?
Ye are not of the world.
But because ye are not of the world, meaning we ain't conforming to this world, like it said in Romans 12 and 2, don't conform to this world. Because we don't conform to this world, and we don't do the things of the world, and we condemn it, we tell them, nah, God said you shouldn't do that, don't do it. You shouldn't eat pork, this, that. Go ahead.
But I have chosen you out of the world, Therefore the world hateth you.
Therefore, what?
The world hateth you.
So the world hates us because we don't celebrate Christmas. We don't celebrate Easter. We don't want to be homosexuals. We don't want to agree with it. We don't want to accept it. We don't want to make our daughters marry outside of their race. We don't want to make our sons marry outside of their race. So this world hates us, man. And it hated Christ first. You know why? Because the same principles that we stand upon, Christ also stood on them same principles, man. He also stood upon the word of God also, man. So this world hates God, man. This world hates Christ. You know why? Because Christ, God, everything that God says goes against their life, goes against their lifestyle, goes against everything that they want to do, goes against the disgusting lifestyle that they want to live. Go ahead.
Remember the world. Okay, remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord.
Remember, man, the servant ain't greater than his Lord, man. And we, the servant, we serve Christ, and he's greater than us. Go ahead.
If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you.
And he said, yo, don't be surprised, man. You ain't greater than the servant ain't greater than his Lord. If they persecuted me, they're gonna persecute you, man. Go ahead.
If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also.
And this should let you know all the world don't keep Christ's sayings, because if they did, this classroom would be full if everyone kept Christ's sayings, but they don't. They're too in love with what the world has to offer them. They're too in love with what society has to offer them. Go ahead.
But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake.
And they do it to us. They don't do it because we're us. They do it for Christ's name's sake, man. For Christ's doctrine's sake, because of what we believe in, because of what we follow, because of what we teach. Because we don't want to be like them. We don't want to conform to the world. So this world does what? Likes to beat us down and talk nonsense about us and so forth. Give me Psalms chapter 14 and verse 1. Real quick.
Psalm 14 and 1. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God.
And this is what fools say, man. There's no God. You see, and listen, just pay attention. You see, everybody that tells you there's no God and they don't believe in God, just look at their lifestyle. Their lifestyle is disgusting. And I see why they say there's no God, because they need in their mind, they need to tell themselves that there's no God in order for them to live that disgusting lifestyle, man. Because they know that no God would approve of that lifestyle, man. They know no God would approve of two men laying down together, man. So they need to tell themselves there's no God. They know that they know that no God would approve of them smoking all this weed and taking all these drugs. They know that no God would approve of them raping women and molesting kids. I mean, do you really expect a child molester to believe in God? I don't. Do you really expect a homosexual to believe in God? I don't. Do you really expect a rapist to believe in God? I don't. So he says in his heart, there's no God. In his mind, there's no God. You know why? Because if he does tell him, convince himself that there is a God, he knows that there's a God. But if he tells himself that there is a God, he's not going to carry out these heinous acts. So what does he do? This is what he does. This is what he does. He lies. He lies and tells himself there's no God, because it makes him at ease. It makes him at ease to molest children. It makes him at ease to rape, rob, murder, because he knows that no God would condone his actions. So in order for him to carry out his actions, he has to say there's no God. That's why he says there's no God, because he wants to carry out them disgusting actions, man. He wants to carry out them heinous acts. So he tells himself there's no God, man, because he knows no God don't condone that disgusting lifestyle. So he would rather live life like God don't exist. Just look at everyone who's ever told you God don't exist, and just look at their lifestyle. Just look at their lifestyle. It's because their lifestyle goes against what God tells them they can and can't do. Their lifestyle goes against the do's and the don'ts of the Bible. That's why they tell you God don't exist. For that reason, man. For that reason. Let me get one more. Give me a Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 8.
Hebrews 13:8. Yahawashi Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever.
Hold on, the what?
The same yesterday and today and forever.
Which means what? No gays today, no gays tomorrow,
Right.
no gays forever.
Right.
No homosexuality today, no homosexuality tomorrow, no homosexuality forever. Because Christ ain't changed. Your Christian pastor lies and tells you he's changed and he would walk you down the aisle. He won't walk you down the aisle. That's a lie. He said the same as yesterday, today, and forever. And them same laws, which is in the Bible, apply yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and forever. And that brings us to the end of the class. We're going to do the prayers and announcements. Go ahead.
The I.S.U.P.K started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA, rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves out of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means 10th in the Hebrew Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or the teacher. Priest fund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you like. Upcoming holy convocation, the Feast of Trumpets, September 28th. Or I can check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. If anyone wants to be troop in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and headscarf. Me die, mother. This is the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Haya. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakufka. Daba'ah. Ratazaka. Haya. Aisha. Ba Ratazak. Kawa. Haya. Ba Shemayim. Nafaninawa. Lakam. Ka. Yawam. Ba Salak Nawa. Kabawaf Nawa. Ka Salak Nawa. Kabawaf Nawa. Wala'ah. Tabiya Ainawa. Banasayawan. Abba. Hawashinawa. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Wahafapara. La'awalamim. Amen.
Our Father, art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory.
Forever. So be it. And the prayer for the power of God. Yahweh. Ba Hashem Yahawashi. Ba Ushah. The Faninawa. Haka. Larapa'ah. Kamakla. Wakamadwa. Haka. Latahar. Hamatazarayan. Haka. Lahakwiya. Hamathia. Haka. Arakawa. Hatama Allah. Lagarashan. Ba Hashem Yahawashi. The word Aman.
Yahweh,
in
the name of
Yahawashi,
please give us the power,
the power
to heal, all manner of sickness, all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean spirits,
the power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out,
in
the name of Yahawashi,
Thank you,
so be
it. And the blessings, Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahawashi, Wa Melaka Wa Alahaya, Bataz Abiyah, Allah Wapihanna, Ha Allah Wapiam, Ha Saranyam, Ha Kwatazayanyam, Ha Kayayayam, Wa Wapiam, Yahweh, Wa Hashem Yahawashi, Dwala Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahawashi. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General YAHANNA. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahawashi. Thank you. So be it. Bless you, Yahweh. King of heaven and earth. All things living. Yahweh. In the name of Yahawashi. Listen to us now. Right now. Send evils. And curses. And punishment. And destruction. To the heathen. That speak against us. Thy prophets. The teachers. The princes. The priests. The Israelite brothers. And the school. Send evils. And curses. And punishment. And destruction. to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school, force their riches, to enter into thy sanctuary, send evils, and curses, and punishment, and destruction to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, the Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Pascal gay movement, lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airways, cable access channels, and the radio channels, convict the spirit of any of thy people, that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way, or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth, and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of defeat, and the murderer, let Yahushua, Michael, Gabriel come down with flying saucers, and punish all the heathen that come up against us, as you speak thy word, cause it to be known by all that is the angels that have done it, cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world, cause them to shake at thy coming, in the name of Yahushua. Thank you, always,
so be it. And bless Israel, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Barakana, Wa'asha'ala, Wahabaya, Sopaya, Barakapah, Magan, all Israel, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Du'ala Aman. What would have said was, Lord, in the name of Jesus, bless us and Israel and the school, bless your shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Jesus, thank you. So be it. And with that, there is one clear to teacher, men of Israel, I man Shabbat, I man Barak, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Rakatah, Yah Jamatah, and class dismissed.
Easy.